What's up, guys? And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 10 favorite players in Smash Ultimate. And these are just my personal picks. It's not necessarily who's best at the game or anything like that. It's just the players I like the most. And this is going to be my top 10, obviously. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. I would love to see what your guys' top 10s are. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into it with number 10, who is going to be Glutonny. Gluto is the best player in Europe and the best Wario of all time. And he's just always been such a cool player to me because he's able to do these insanely long combos and lead them into WAF, taking people out at insanely early percents. And I think something so interesting and hype when you're watching him is just that the game is really never over until he's over. He makes the most insane comebacks, and if he has WAF, it's almost like you've already lost. Like, he's made the biggest comebacks I've ever seen in my life. Like, for example, if you've seen the set at Terra versus Tweak, he literally made the craziest comeback of all time. It was in Tweak's hands. Like, he pretty much had won that tournament, and nope. He got robbed at the very end by the Waft, and that's just what we love. That's what I love to see, you know? Some people may argue it's unbalanced or, you know, whatever, but I just love seeing that. Like, I felt kind of bad for Tweak, but it was also so shocking that, like, that's entertaining. Also, I love that he just has such a long win streak on MKLeo. I mean, honestly, I don't love it, but it's so impressive to me. Nobody else has really been able to dominate MKLeo like that. I mean, maybe other than Shuton, who's never even lost a game to him. But yeah, I just think it's so crazy that Gluto is able to do that. And they play so often. And Gluto used to actually lose to Leo, but he figured out the matchup. And that's just so impressive to me. And the last thing is, he just has a really cool and chill personality. Like, I love how, like, calm he is all the time. I love that clip of him at Summit where he's just like, after he beats MKLeo. So yeah, I mean, he's just a really cool guy, and so that's why he's gonna be number 10 on the list. Next up at number 9, we have Zackray. And something I find so cool about Zackray is just the fact that we've literally seen him grow up in the Smash community. He was such a little kid when he first had won tournaments at the beginning of Ultimate, and then now to see him, like, he's all grown up, I think that's just so cool to watch. But not just that, his gameplay is amazing as well. The way he pilots Rob and Joker are a way I've never seen before from any other player, and he has such an unconventional style of play. And I also find it so impressive that he's able to pilot so many different characters to such a top level, you know, and I think that's really a quality that really is a mark of a top player. Like, for example, within the month of Sora releasing, Zackray had already won Kagaribi, which is like the biggest tournament in Japan, as Sora, which is just, that doesn't even make sense. Like, how do you guys lose to the new character? He's never even played this character. But he was just able to do that, and it feels like any character he picks up, he'll automatically be good with. He's literally playing Pit because he thinks he's fun. Pit is terrible, guys. Like, you guys can't be losing to Pit. But yeah, that's why I'm going to have Zackray at the number 9 spot. Next up at number 8, we're going to have maybe an unconventional pick, but it's going to be Base Mage. And Base Mage, if you don't know, is a Jigglypuff player, and that's pretty much, you know, all you need to know. Jigglypuff is such a rare and kind of weird character, and I really have a big love for Jigglypuff. I hate fighting Jigglypuff, but I love playing as Jigglypuff because it's really funny, and I love watching Jigglypuff because it's really, really funny. And Base Mage is just a player that's able to make this really not that good character seem very good, and even take out top level threats like Cola, which is just really crazy. I know that really Roy actually is quite weak to Jigglypuff, but it's still awesome to watch. And I just love watching all these long edge guards and combos into rest and stuff like that. I feel like you can do so much with the character, and you gotta root for an underdog character sometimes. You know, some people really love Little Mac, some people really love Ganondorf. For me, it's Jigglypuff, and it's gonna be Base Mage. Next up, we are going to have a member of Moist Esports and a member of the Lights Out podcast, actually the person the podcast is named after, Light. And Light is just such an enigma when it comes to the game. He's really the fastest player to have ever played the game. And I think it's so interesting. Light always talks about on Lights Out, he's always like, people think Fox is so broken, but they didn't think Fox was broken before I was playing it. And, you know, is Fox broken? Absolutely. But did they think that before he played him? No. So I think people wouldn't even know Fox is even anywhere near as good as he is if Light wasn't so insane with the character. It feels like sometimes he's just freestyling and doing, you know, new things that he's never even tried before in tournaments sometimes, because it's actually wild when you watch him. And he's just so quick. It's honestly crazy. He makes Fox look even faster than he regularly is. And in the sets when he goes against people who are his rivals, like Spargo or Mars, I think that's when you really get to see him shine, because these players also play super duper fast. So it's just gonna always be a hype set. And I love to hear Light, you know, talk trash after a game or something like that. It's just cool, and he's just always a fun player to watch play. I think it's also important to note the fact that Light, his whole career, has played Fox. There's very few players who have never switched off of their main, but Light is just so dedicated to Fox. So if you really enjoy Fox, like I do, then you're obviously going to have a big appreciation for Light. So that's why he's going to be at number 7 on the list. Now at number 6, we have the most aggressive player in Smash Ultimate. You could say he even founded Moist Esports, and it's going to be Cola. And the reason I say that is because he was actually not only the first player to have ever been on Moist Esports, but they even created Moist Esports around Cola. So it's just so funny that he barely even plays these days. But even with that, he's still insane whenever he returns to the game, and he still wins very big tournaments. And I think he's just so hyped because he's so aggressive. You know, he's always, as some people say, he camps in your face, which what does that even mean? But also it's true. You know, he's always pressing you, giving you like infinite pressure. It's so hard to deal with for so many players. And I think just to watch people kind of get put in that place, especially really top level players who are never put in that position, it's cool to watch and see how they behave in those kind of stressful scenarios. And he's so cocky too, in and outside of the game. You never know what he's going to say on the mic. You know, you almost don't want to give him the mic because he'll just say some crazy things.
Oh my god. Thank God. Roy's up smash didn't fall out. Thank you for killing. Thank you for everything. No foresight. Just thank you for working in that one exact moment. You can go back to me for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter. Thank you for that one up smash. And Roy's a good character. Okay, like I'm yes.
And his gameplay is just so fast and fun to watch because he's able to weave these combos together literally across the stage. Also, something I think a lot of people don't really bring up when it comes to Cola that I find kind of odd is the fact that Cola is pretty much the reverse 3-0 king. I've never seen somebody reverse 3-0 as consistently as Cola. For example, his set against Light at Summit 5, he went down 2 games and then beat him 3 games in a row. Or his 2 sets back-to-back at Gimvitational. First against Spargo, he went down 2 games, beat him 3 games in a row. And then against Ashimo, he went down 2 games, beat him 3 games in a row. Who even does that? That doesn't even make sense. These are all-star players. These are like all top 10 players. How are you doing that, sir? But he just doesn't even, you know, he's more concerned about trying to figure out how to lose less money on stocks.
Sometimes with trading, bro, especially when you're just like young with it, and I've only been doing it for 6 months, you just lose all your you just lose your life savings. And I'm kind of immune to that, like. So
he doesn't even really care about the game, but he'll still mess you up. And I think that's part of the hype. Now at number 5, we have another member of the Lights Out podcast. And spoiler alert, it's not EE. It's actually going to be Cosmos. And Cosmos is just such an interesting player because I'd almost say if you watch basketball, he's like the Jeremy Lin of Super Smash Bros. Where he's almost like an ordinary player sometimes, just losing to randoms and unranked players you've never heard of. And then other times he's beating the Kobe's of the world, or in Smash terms, you know, Spargo, at their own game, which doesn't even make sense, but we're watching it happen live. And he's really so cool for that reason. I also love the way he plays Pyra and Mythra, because I'd say it's by far the most technical Pyra and Mythra. You even ask, like, top pros who play the character, like Shuton was asked once who his favorite player is, and he said Cosmos.
一番好きな選手教えてください。
まあコスモスかな。
コスモス。なぜですか？
友達。コムヒカ使いで友達だし、なんかかっこいい一番。
かっこいいって。かっこいい。
Because the way Cosmos plays Pyra and Mythra is so precise. Like, it's almost like the very most optimal way to play the character.
No way! God! What?
Even though he's not that consistent with it, when he's on, he's doing the most insane combos perfectly every single time. Foresight perfectly every time you try to hit him. And it's really crazy to watch. He plays a very Mythra-heavy gameplay, and all of this is like what you want to see from him. But then sometimes he'll just SD back to back. He'll literally take his own life 2 games in a row. Or sometimes twice in one game. It's like, bro, are you trying to win or not? You know?
There's no way he just SD'd at 0. I've never seen him SD like that before. Please don't lose this. Oh my god. There's no way. Come on. Please. No way he just SD'd. No way he SD'd the same way. No way. No way. Oh my god. No way! There's no way! I'm actually upset as right now. No way! Oh my god, I felt like I just lost!
And then other nights, he'll just go and beat the best players in the world. He'll just beat Zomba, beat Spargo. He beat Spargo and didn't even bring him to a game 5. He just beat Spargo casually. He got 2nd place at the Smash World Tour, which is arguably a top 5 biggest tournaments ever. How did he do that? It's because he was clutch most that day. So choke most or clutch most, you don't know what you're going to get on a given day. But you really pray that it's the good one, you know? Now, at number 4, we are going to have MKLeo. And he is the GOAT of the game. But I must say, when MKLeo was very, very dominant in Smash, I wasn't really rooting for him as much as I am now. Leo has actually become a more favorite player of mine over the years as he has had declining results. And I think it's because now it's almost harder to root for the person who wins every single time because it's just like not as fun. But when they're an underdog, you really just want them to succeed. And so that's really how I feel about Leo right now. A lot of my favorite players, I would root for Leo above them. You know, like if you asked me a couple of years ago if I would root for Leo above Cola, I would be like, are you out of your mind? But now I definitely want Leo to beat Cola if they play against each other because it's MKLeo, that's my GOAT, you know? So I think Leo just has this, he's so cherished in the community. Again, to reference it with basketball, he's like the LeBron, how people love LeBron so much. MKLeo, I think, is a very similar way. There's no really haters of MKLeo. And I just think the way he is able to constantly reinvent himself and play all these different characters to such a top level is so crazy. Like, you gotta think, he played Joker way back before quarantine, and he's playing Joker now to a very top level, even though Joker isn't even necessarily very good in a meta like the one that we have right now. Joker is not the type of character you want to thrive, but none of the characters he plays really are, and he's never really cared about that anyway. I always think back to iconic sets like the one at main stage versus Spargo, where Spargo had him pretty much dead to rights, and then he made one bad move with the air dodge, got back aired, and then got down air spiked, and it was over.
And Leo steals main stage away from the clutches of Spargo in the most heartbreaking ending we've ever seen.
It was lights out at that point, you know, no pun intended, and MKLeo reigned supreme again. Or when he fought against Proto Banham, who was like his arch nemesis who would beat him every single time. He fought this guy at Double Down. Proto picks Lucina, who he's beat Leo with in the past. He literally broke Leo's winning streak for 2 years straight with this character. And Leo was so calm about it, he picked Corrin and 3-stocked him. In fact, he didn't even get hit the first 2 stocks. Like, it wasn't even close at all. Like, he almost JV4'd him.
Good. Look at him.
Leo is, oh my goodness, no way, no way, 2 stocks unanswered. Leo, you are the GOAT, and don't let anyone tell you different.
And it's just like, to have a player that's so unpredictable, he could literally just pick, you know, any character. I wouldn't even be surprised if he just picked Kirby in tournament, and everybody's like, what, the Leo Kirby? And he just wins the whole thing, because that's just the type of player he is. So, yeah, that's why I gotta have MKLeo there. Alright, next up at number 3, we are going to have a player who plays 2 really silly but broken characters in Pac-Man and Kazuya, and that's going to obviously be T. T is such an interesting player to me because he really plays a very unorthodox style of gameplay than anybody I've ever seen in my life, and really we could start out by talking about his Pac-Man. First of all, most people don't think Pac-Man is cool at all. I like Pac-Man, to be honest, but people don't agree with me, and they think he's a very boring and campy character, which I understand, but people love T's Pac-Man. And it's because he just runs around with a bell, he dash dances, you don't know when he's going to throw it, you don't know what he's going to do with it, and then randomly he'll hit you and he'll do like 76 to you in a combo. And it's just like, oh my god, what even happened to me, you know? And then the Kazuya, he just, like, you have players like Riddles who will play a very precise Kazuya with everything planned out and, you know, careful, frame data considering. This guy is not like that at all. This guy will easily do 157 Electric Wind Godfists in a row, and he won't even blink.
Électrique. Là, la première game, moins de 30 secondes, électrique, petit coup de poing, électrique, hop, électrique encore, hop, mid électrique, hop, percute électrique. Voilà Kazuya Mishima. Il fait, moi je vais juste électrique, et ensuite j'ai mon ouverture, je vais électrique, puis ensuite hop, oh pourquoi pas un électrique, et enfin, attends, un électrique, c'est pas grave, oh bah oui.
He will just, he's so sure he can just do the most overpowered moves over and over and over and over again, and he won't even think twice. He's just like, yes, this will work. It's good, so it will work. And it does. That's the craziest part, is it does work. He outplaces Riddles on many occasions. And it's just like, how is this even happening? You know? I remember after this most recent Genesis, EE asked him, he was like, you know, we wanted to see a character other than just Kazuya. Where was the Pac-Man? And he's like, the world didn't let me play Pac-Man. The world made me play Kazuya. Are you out of your mind, sir?
Why no Pac-Man?
I really want to use Pac-Man, but unfortunately my opponent makes me use
Okay.
The opponent doesn't let me use Pac-Man. I want to use Pac-Man, but I unfortunately have to use Kazuya.
Alright.
But, you know, that's really, I think, quite brilliant to see. We love to watch the T Pac-Man because he doesn't even try to hide how broken the character is. He's just like, I'm going to spam the good moves. And I can appreciate that from him. And then, obviously, I can't mention T without mentioning maybe the most infamous moment of T's career, which is the crew battle at Double Down, where MKLeo had defeated everybody who was left on the Japanese team single-handedly by himself on the Joker, who he hadn't played in years.
Leo, he wants this thing. He is thirsty for that. That's definitely going to put it away, but Shuton was crawled in there, but the joke...
You can't stop him, bro. He's going in a straight line. You still can't see him. The back air. Oh, he did it!
TK, how the hell did he do it?
Yo. All right, man. Listen. Now,
no shot.
Now, one stock versus T. If Leo does this, I mean, he's already been cemented as the GOAT, right? But there is no question after this.
This was his first time even trying the character out in years. He had single-handedly taken out almost everybody left on the Japanese team but one guy, T, who was the last man standing, and they were like, can he take out T's 3 stocks here? The match begins. T hits an Electric Wind Godfist, and it's over.
Oh, no. Oh, no, not like this.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, I mean, Arson's there.
Hey, you're dead.
I mean, he was there until he wasn't.
He 0-to-death combos him, absolutely foils MKLeo's entire plan and career. It was so sad, and that's not even the end of it. T then gets up on the stage, crosses his arms, and says, ha ha ha, Kazuya Mishima.
Oh, my Lord.
All that build
Look at this man.
Yeah, you know.
Kazuya Mishima. Look at him. Look, he comes over there.
Yo, T, please.
T. Oh my god, was that the most raw moment I've ever seen in real life before? I think that's the most movie cinematic moment I've ever witnessed with my own 2 eyes that's played out in the real world. Like, I almost feel like Timothée Chalamet is going to be cast as him in the next blockbuster film. And so I feel like even just the personality outside of the gameplay has to be accounted for here, because this guy's just a star. All right, now number 2, we are going to have Proto Banham. And Proto is just such a cool and kind of mysterious player to me, because he rarely, if ever, plays in tournaments outside of Japan. And even in Japan, from what I'm aware, he doesn't play too much, I think due to health issues. But whenever he does come here and play, he always does well. It's almost like when there's money involved, he really starts trying. But no, it's actually wild when you watch him, because he will literally take these people who we think in our heads are unbeatable and just destroy them. Like, for example, him snapping in half MKLeo's over 2-year-long streak of only getting 1st and 2nd place at tournaments. He just came through and beat that. And it was just like, what? Like, MKLeo wasn't even supposed to lose to you. He was supposed to maybe lose in grand finals to Spargo. Nope, he just beat that. You know, he's beaten so many people. He won Double Down. Like, people said, oh, he's only winning because of Summit, and it's like a, you know, closed bracket tournament. Nope, one Double Down, one Summit 5. So, I don't even know really what to say. He's beaten players like Light, Tweak, MKLeo, all at the top of their game, Spargo. I mean, and the way he is able to master these two completely different characters. Min Min, such a weird, wonky character. There's never been a character like that in the history of this game. And then Lucina, maybe the most basic character they've ever made. And he not just has mastered the two of them, but he will switch back and forth from one to the other each game. Even if he wins, he'll switch, because he wants to keep the opponent guessing and on their toes. And that, I think, is also such an interesting way of playing. And I think because he's kind of an older player, he's kind of in his mid to late 30s, I think that's really unique to be so old and still be at such a top level, because a lot of the top players now are like pretty much kids. Like, they'll be like 17 to 22, you know? So for him to, and he doesn't even play. Also, the fact that he never even comes out, and then when he comes out, he just starts destroying people. It's just so wild to me and so impressive, and I just love Proto for that reason. All right, now number one, who else could we have but the best player in the world? Obviously, Akola. Or, sorry, not that best player in the world. The real best player in the world. Mars. The self-proclaimed best player in the world. And the coolest player in the world. Now, Mars is obviously the most hyped player in the world for so many reasons. One, he is such a cold-blooded killer when it comes to the way he plays this game. He's so cocky outside of the game. He's like, yeah, I'll just mess you up. And he will. Even the greatest players like MKLeo at his peak, the best player of all time at his peak, got 3-0'd by him in grand finals. Like, this guy is not to be messed with. And he just can take you out at pretty much any percent. You will often die between like 30 and 70%, even with ZSS, who sucks in his opinion, but he's still able to execute the greatest players to have ever played the game. Even in recent times, he's beaten players like Mia. And you gotta realize that, like, he's doing these, like, insane, like, pretty much montage-esque clips just in an actual tournament against the best players in the world. Like, one I always think of is when he fought against ESAM at Genesis 8. He did such a crazy combo to him. He gets him with a footstool down air, gets him off the stage, and then down air spikes him. Literally. And I love that he'll go for these down airs, because the thing is, he is guaranteed to die. Whether it hits or not, he will die. And yet he's so certain it will hit and that it will take them out before it takes him out that he's willing to go for it even when he's got only one life left, which means missing it would cause him to lose the game. But he's like, no, I won't miss. And he did an even more insane spike on the Buzz, where he chased him literally under the stage. This was at Genesis 9. And then he spiked him under the stage. Why did you do that? That's not right. Like, you should go to jail. You should at least get sentenced to, you know, maybe life without parole. I mean, at least community service. Like, that is not right to do to another human being. He just demoralized him in front of French people. So, you know, I think he's just such a cool player, and he's really chill. And he's the only guy doing it with Zero Suit Samus, who really isn't a very good character in the current meta, but he somehow makes it work just because it's only him. His sets versus Light, his rival, are always so amazing to watch. And yeah, Mars will always be my favorite player, because he's just always going to be able to go for these things that shouldn't even be possible in a tournament. But yeah, what are your guys' favorite players? Please be sure to leave them in the comments down below. And do you guys agree with my favorites? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and see ya.
I'm gonna hop off now, and I'm gonna go eat some lettuce.